One of the questions that I do find myself fielding more than one time during teaching a course on Illustrator at university when we're in this area, with strokes and text and doing all this stuff to them, is, Andy, how do I apply text to a circle? Now, before waiting for the rest of the question, which is just like me, I slog on and I say, well, first off, you make a circle. And there's a circle. Then you come up and you pick up the Type on Path tool. You click on the path and you begin typing, and there you go, student. You've got text on a circle. And they say, well, we know how to do that, but here's our problem. We want the text to be readable on the top and the bottom, and you can't format the text at the top differently in terms of how you view it with the text on the bottom, because it's all one big circle. And how do we do this? Well, I'll tell you what, let me undo that. Get back to start. Listening to the question, I now have the answer. The answer could be two ways. There are two approaches to this problem. One approach is actually to make two circles. Make one, make a copy. You've got two. Put your top text on one, format your bottom text on the other, and I'll show you how to do that. And then put them back together, you got it. It'll look fine. Number two, my way, in my opinion, just a little bit easier. Make one circle and cut the circle in half, which makes two objects that can be controlled independently. You don't have to move them. Everything's going to be fine. We start by cutting the circle in half using something called the scissors tool. Don't run with scissors, as my mother used to say. It's right here. It is hidden under the eraser. So if you got the eraser tool up, go down to scissors. The scissors tool will cut strokes. It will not cut inside. If I click here, it's going to tell me I'm in the wrong place. If I click in here, it would do the same thing. You've got to be on a stroke. So that's the stroke. I want to cut it right in half, right like this. Come over here and click one time on that point. Doesn't have to be an anchor, but you can click anywhere you want. I'm going to use the anchor as a reference. There's the first cut. We come over here and do it again on this side. I've got it cut in half. Now to prove that point, I'll pick up my selection tool. And as you can see, if I select this, I can move it. They are two pieces. Stage one, make a circle, cut it in half. No big deal. Piece of cake. Stage two, pick up your type tool, type on a path, and click on that top half. Type the words that you want. Text on top. That sounds appropriate. Leave it alone for the moment. We'll get back to that in a second. Come down to this one. Again, we do have another one down here. It hasn't been converted yet, right? Pick up your Type on Path tool and click on it somewhere, say about here. And we'll type in text on bottom. We have our text. Now we're going to format it. We're going to play with it. We're going to massage it. Let's start by changing the font. Let's come up here and select that text. Now you can do that with your type tool. Just triple click if that's the way you want to do it. Don't like that font. So we're going to go from Myriad Pro to something else. We could go, well, actually anything we want to. I'm going to go into one called, Handwriting Dakota. You may not have that font. Choose whatever you want, really. We're going to make it a little bit bigger, obviously, so we can see it better. And now I need to move it. Now to move it, that's actually pretty easy. Let's start by centering it. Click the center button right there. It's still off because of where we clicked. It's centered on where we clicked. So we're going to get off the type tool. We're going to come up here and pick up the selection tool. And you'll notice this nice big line right here. If you click that line, we can move the text. So we're going to kind of center it right up there. Now let's work on this one down here. Let's come down with our type tool and let's select the text. You want to do the same thing? Probably. Come over here, choose your font. Again, whatever font you want to use. I'm using Handwriting Dakota. We're going to go ahead and make that at 36. And of course, it's on the bottom. That's nice. Let's go ahead and center it. Let's go back to our selection tool. And we're going to move it. There's two ways we can do this. We can move it, and then if we drag up, we can put it on the inside. That would be one way, but I want to show you another way to do that part of what we need to get done here. This text needs to be readable. It needs to be on the other side. So we're going to select with the selection tool. We're going to select it and make sure we like where it is in terms of its center. Now, come over here and go to the word type on the pull-down menu and go down to Type on Path and check out these options. You've got rainbow, skew, 3D ribbon, stair step, and gravity. But if you want to work with them all at the same time, go to Type on Path options. Now in Type on Path options, we can change the effect. But first we're going to flip it because we want to read it. Pretty easy, isn't it? We can change from rainbow, which is default. We can go to skew. We can try 3D ribbon. We can try stair step, or the one called gravity, where they bend based on where they're going in toward the vertical. Let's go back to rainbow. I need the text a little bit further up, maybe. We can change that by going to align to path. We got baseline. You've got center. I don't want to center it. We have descender. The descender is the lower portion of a lowercase letter, like the letter Y and the part of the Y that dangles down. Now, there are no lowercase letters with descenders on text on bottom, but it compensates for that and leaves the room. I like that. That's pretty cool. Let's click OK. Let's go text on top, and all you have to do is select it with your selection tool. Do the same thing. Go into type, go down to type on path options, change to a different effect if you want to. We align to ascender. Now the ascenders are the top portion right here. Spacing is how far apart the letters are. If you want to do this, you can add or subtract more spacing to the letters. I like them where they are, so we won't worry too much about that. And we can, of course, flip it if that's what you want to do. No. Now we got text on the top, text on the bottom, but I still don't like the text on the top. If this is that far away from that bottom, I want that text, in a sense, that far away from the top. So we're going to click OK because that's all we can do here. What we're going to go next to is our character panel. Now in our character panel, let's bring it out. Let's go ahead and say show options to get everything. What we want to do is understand you have something called baseline right there. And if I set the baseline shift by clicking this button, as you can see, baseline is going to move the text up or down. So I can do that. If I want to spread the letters apart, I can do the tracking here. Maybe as they bend, they were a little bit close together. And we can begin pushing them apart by using this option right here. Total control of the text. Text on a circle, but readable text at the top and readable text at the bottom. Cut the circle in half.